All right, guys, today I'm going to be moving my test bench setup here. This is in the Inwin Alice case. I got my i7 8700K overclocked to 5.2 gigahertz on liquid metal. And we have a 5600 XT here from Sapphire. We're going to move this whole setup into this new Lian Li Mesh RGB case. I got this from Micro Center in an open box deal. It says it has complete everything, nothing missing, all the screws. So should be just like you're buying a brand new Lian Li Mesh. This Lancool 2 mesh case here is a revamped version of the normal Lancool 2. Came out that usually had like two ventilated area strips with RGB shining through. This is going to be complete mesh on the front with some RGB fans that are going to be shining through the mesh. So it should offer better airflow than the original Lancool 2 that didn't come out not that much long ago. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this thing performs. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do an unboxing of the case. We'll do a brief overview of everything that comes in it and some of the features that this case has. Then we'll go ahead and move this computer into this case and do some airflow testing and other things to see if this case is worth the $100 that it costs. So let's go ahead and get that unboxing started. All right, guys, I am back. I just finished unboxing this Lancool 2 mesh from Lian Li. Right off the bat, I can tell you it's very sturdy. It's got some great heft. I feel like you can just drop it and there's not going to be nothing wrong with it. Some things that you want to know right off the bat. These doors are tempered glass. They come right off by just popping them off these hinges. Both the front and the back are glass. But if you're worried about cable management, they have these nice metal plates here that will hide any cable management that you don't want seen. So no problem there. As you can see, we also have two SSD caddies here. And then we flip this down. We have our three hard drive caddies here, which you can also access from the front from this same door. And you do have to have this folded down, as far as I can tell, in order to open up the glass door. So you first have to take this down and then you'll be able to access the glass door. Might be a little annoying for some people. I think it's just fine and dandy. I like the feature that you can access your hard drive from the front without having to take off opening up any doors in the back, accessing it that way. So I think this is really cool, and it's just like really easy to get going and put back in. So very nice, easy case to work with, and I think every one of you are going to like it. It's very similar to the Lancool 2. I don't see any missing features. The only difference so far that I can tell is just this mesh front, which I really like. Some more features here. You have two USB 3.0 ports right here, and then there is a spot if you want to add your own USB Type-C, but it doesn't come with it. There might be some that do. This one does not, but it does have an open port for you to add it if you would like. I'm sure you can find it on Lian Li's website. Other than that, you also have a head and microphone combo jack here, power button, reset button, and then there are two buttons for the RGB fans. We have color and mode. So with the mode buttons, you're able to select probably like flashing and static, all those different ones, and then obviously color. You can change which color the fans are. You do have this nice magnetic mesh dust cover on the top, very easy to take off. Underneath this was your manual and your thank you for your purchase card. The case, how it comes, only has the three RGB fans. You don't have any exhaust fans to work with. In my testing, I'm going to test it how it comes with just the three front fans, and then I'll test it with some add-on fans that I have downstairs. I do have Lian Li fans from the original Lancool 2 that I did before in that video. So we're going to go ahead and add those in as well to the air testing to see if it benefits any more from adding different fans. All right, so I think that's enough of the overview. Let's go ahead and build in it. I'll talk a little bit about how if it was easy or difficult to build in this case once we're done with that. And then once it's fully built, I'll be able to also go over the temperatures and my overall feelings on this case. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, guys, so I have finished building in it. I've also done all my airflow tests as well as my noise level tests. And we're gonna go over those numbers here in a moment. I'm just gonna go over now the experience I had building in this Lancool 2 mesh case. Building in it was very easy, similar to the ease of use that the NZXT H510 offers. Very simple, great feature set. Obviously, I think for $100, this provides way more features, and I can't recommend it enough. The airflow, everything is great about this case. If you want this to be summed up, definitely take a look at this case. It's worth every penny that they're charging in that $100 price tag. If $100 is a little bit too expensive for you, and you don't care too much about RGB, they do have other versions without RGB that are cheaper, and you'll still get that great performance. And speaking of the RGB, I love these RGB fans that the case did come with, and it is powered by the SATA cable from your power supply, and you can use the buttons on the top here, switch between the modes. There's several different ones you can choose from, or you can just select a static color here. And there's different variants of red, green, blue, yellow, and white, all of those great colors. But if you like to sync the lights to your motherboard and have it controlled by one program, you can do that as long as your motherboard has the 5-volt 3-pin RGB. This one, my motherboard does, but I have issues with it. The 5-volt RGB cable never stays plugged in. I was using this system as my primary rig way back in the day before I built my water-cooled PC. And even then I had issues with the 5-volt RGB cable not staying plugged in. And it's no different with this case either. So I will be stuck using these buttons, but I have no problem with that. So that is a negative, but maybe it's a manufacturing error with my motherboard. One negative that I came across in building it is the cable bar, similar to the NZXT cable bar, but it doesn't seem to give you enough room to maneuver. Plugging in the USB 3.0 cable proved to be a big hassle, and I really had to get my fat fingers in there and really maneuver it in there. And the whole time I was sweating, really worrying that I was going to be bending those really fragile pins on the motherboard. The USB 3.0, those pins are very fragile, so that was a little bit unnerving to have to deal with this case. And then for the 24-pin power supply cable, that one was very hard to maneuver. It might be a lot better if you have custom cables, but I'm just using the ones that my power supply came with, and I actually had to wrap it around the front side of the bar and then go over the bar to plug it into the motherboard for it to maneuver a lot easier. I've seen other people do it this way on even the NZXT case. I think it's all going to be preference on how you do it, whether you route it underneath that cable bar or if you route it over. I've seen people do it both ways. I'm not sure what Lian Li or NZXT meant it to be. But if you know, I'd like to hear down in the comments if I'm supposed to wrap it around the bar or if it's supposed to stay under. But if it's supposed to stay under, it was not an easy task to do with the 24-pin motherboard cable. All right, moving on. So obviously I said you have tempered glass on both side panels here. If you're worried about the cable management issue, if you're not good at cable management, I'm not very good either. And you'll see that in this picture here. But this does a very good job in hiding the cables. Those cable hiding plates are really a nice feature. And I don't have any worries about it with this glass back panel here. Now, all of that being said, I think it's time we go into my temperature testing and noise level testing and see what those results are. I tested the airflow two separate ways. One at just the stock configuration with the 3 front fans that it came with, no other fans. And then the second time I tested it for the same way. The fan in the back I installed was from the original Lancool 2 from Lian Li that I had taken out and put other fans in. They're very high quality fans and decided to use them here for this testing. So that is what's going to be doing for my rear exhaust. No fans are at the top. In this test bench, we have my i7 8700K, which I have overclocked to 5 gigahertz on all cores. And it's being cooled by my Scythe Mugen 5 air cooler. It's a very nice cooler. My 8700K also is delidded and has liquid metal applied. So if you're seeing temperatures that you're not getting, that is why, because it's been delidded. And then for the graphics card, I have my Sapphire Pulse 5600 XT graphics card. I'll be doing a review of that card here soon. I have all the numbers tested. I just have to film that video. With all that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at our temperature tests, and then from there we'll move on to the noise levels. All right, starting off with the noise levels, I'm going to look here at the ambient room temperature. The ambient room temperature in the room that I tested this with was 20 degrees Celsius, and I maintained that pretty well throughout the testing. We're going to take a look here first at the stock settings, which means only the 3 front fans. At our stock configuration, at idle, our CPU was at 32 degrees Celsius. And once I put the CPU under load, we had a temperature of 66 degrees Celsius. Next, our graphics card, the 5600 XT. Idle temperature was at 30 degrees Celsius. Under load, the 5600 XT reached 58 degrees Celsius. Now let's take a look at our delta T over ambient numbers. At idle, the CPU was 10 degrees delta T over ambient. At load, the CPU was at 46 degrees delta T over ambient. And at the graphics card, at idle, we had a 10 degree delta T over ambient, similar to the CPU. And under load, our graphics card had a delta T over ambient of 38 degrees Celsius. All right, so now let's move on to our setup with adding the exhaust fan, leaving the front 3 fans on. At idle, the CPU sat at 30 degrees, so no change there. And same for the graphics card, also sitting at 30 degrees. Same thing, no change. Under load, the CPU went to 65 degrees Celsius, which is just 1 degree less than not having the exhaust fan. And now for our graphics card, under load, that was at 57 degrees Celsius. Now looking at the delta T temperatures for this setup, the idle temperatures for both CPU and GPUs obviously stay the same. And then looking at the loads, the CPU would have a 45 degree delta T over ambient, and the GPU would have a 37 degrees Celsius delta T over ambient. All right guys, so as you can see, this case performed very well with all those temperatures. I can't be more impressed with how great this case performs and looks, and all the features that you get for only that $99 price tag. And like I said, if you don't want the RGB, don't care about RGB, and that $99 price tag is too much for you, then I would take a look at one of their other versions of this case, their performance one, or there is a version without any of the front fans. You can add your own fans later on, and you have that nice mesh front to provide great airflow. You have radiator support up top with this nice magnetic mesh dust cover. Also has dust cover for the power supply down there. And those cable hiders right here, just absolutely excellent. You have the tempered glass side panels on each side. This case is just amazing, amazing value, and I can't recommend it enough. And I'd love to hear you guys down in the comments what you think of this case. Is your next computer going to be built in this beautiful case here from Lian Li? Let me know down in the comments. But with all that being said, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I really appreciate you guys stopping by and watching this video, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. See you then.